Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX, and it's time for the daily video update. Let's have a little look at the markets. They haven't quite closed yet, but they're getting pretty darn close, about 7 minutes away. Looks like the Dow's going to finish a little bit in the negative. The S&P is going to finish a bit in the negative. Oil is still way up there, although it's come off the highs for the day, and gold is actually down a little bit for today. So it's been a kind of a mixed bag, but for the most part, been a decline in most of the markets. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Coming up here in just about 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours here. We've got employment numbers coming out of New Zealand. That's going to be some big movement there, so just be careful and be cautious of that. We saw the ADP non-farm employment change come out this morning, which was a little bit worse than expected, and we saw some movement in there, mostly towards dollar strength with a little bit of reversal later in the morning. It was kind of an interesting one. And real quick, let's look at what we have coming out tomorrow. We have got some interesting stuff. Interest rates for Europe will be probably a pretty big mover. Doubtful we're going to see any kind of a change. There's no forecast of a change, but there wasn't for the Australian dollar either. A couple of days ago when we saw that big cut happen and a huge move in the Aussie dollar. But we'll see. But remember, a big change there, or something out of the expected would be a big movement on the euro dollar, so keep an eye on that. And then we've got some more U.S. News, the ISM non-manufacturing and employment claims. So should be a pretty good moving day tomorrow. We've got lots of chop going on here in the dollar index. It's still just kind of hopping around somewhere between this 79 and 80 area, just really bumping around, not making a lot of headway. This is the daily chart, so you can see that it's just kind of stuck. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of direction of the last couple of months, just chopping up and down. And we've definitely seen that apparent in the currencies. Not a lot of direction there. Euro dollar's done some interesting stuff for us. It's bumping around this little channel right here. Here's our low, which is just above 13100. It's about 131.20, 25. Remember our breakout last night. If you saw the daily video and the tweets yesterday and the daily notes and every other place that I could post it, I specifically mentioned to watch for the break of 13200 and sell the break of 13200, and that we did. We got some big pips out of that movement. That was an 80 pip movement. But it easily hit our target of 131.50. So a nice little 50 pip movement there. Very, very nice run. And now we've got a couple of options here. If the euro dollar is able to break back above the high of the day, or excuse me, of this little retracement here, which is about 131.65, I think we might test 13200. I think it's just going to be a quick, small little run, and it'll be pretty tricky. But I think there's some pips there. So look for that break of about 131.65, and let's look and see if we can get a little bit of a run up from there. And then definitely at this 13200, unless we get a really strong break, we're going to keep an eye on it, but this could be a very nice bounce area to take the pair all the way back down to 131.25 and hopefully through. If we don't get much of anything, there's definitely some little trend lines that we can keep an eye on in here. It's a little choppy, but you can see that there's some little stuff happening, and trend lines have kind of broken, and it's just kind of hopping around here a little bit. But what I'm really looking for is in this chop here, because we have to be a little bit sensitive of the 131.50, where it's sitting just about right now. It's just a little bit above 131.50. This is a level that gets tested so very often, so that's why I would almost rather wait for a break of this low of 131.25. If we break that, we should have a very easy run into 131.100, so just a nice little 25 pip run, but I would expect a break of that as well, a break of 131.100 into potentially as low as 130.50. So we're going to keep our eye on that and just kind of watch those levels. So again, looking for a bounce potentially off 13200, possible break to trade up to 13200, above 131.65, kind of 70 area. If we don't get that, we can take some little trend line runs down into these lows, but I would rather just trade the break of the low on this particular setup here. Pound dollar is doing some interesting stuff for us. Pound dollar is kind of just hopping around here, and we saw some pretty nice movements on this one last night, some good pips there as well. I think the pound dollar's got a couple of options here. If we get back above 16200 and just kind of give us a nice little break here, about 162.05-ish, right around there, I think that the pair will probably go and retest 162.50. So above that 16200, we probably are going to reach 162.50 and potentially beyond. But again, we're just kind of taking the market at small chunks at a time, so we're going to keep an eye on that. If it doesn't do that, we have a couple of options. Definitely below 161.60, I think we've got some nice sell opportunities to take the pair down quite a bit. But we've got a few things along the way there. If you remember this level right here, 161.65, this was actually a level that I marked as a buy area, and we actually took a buy this morning and grabbed some pips off this little run up on the pound dollar, so it was a nice movement. And now it's just kind of chopping around in this channel. So again, a break above 16200 should take us up to 162.50. If it just bounces off of that, then we're going to drop down to some of these smaller time frames here, and we're going to watch this trend line. I think this trend line is pretty nice, but I think really our important level is just 12 pips or so below current market price, and that's about 161.85. If it breaks this 161.85, then I'm looking to take it back down into these lows. Again, about a 20 to 25 pip movement, nothing major, and just take some quick profits on that, because what will probably happen if we do get this break in the Asian session, it'll probably bounce off that and kind of chop around a little bit. So look for a quick initial run below 161.85, and then we'll probably have to save this bigger breakout down if it happens for the UK session, which is about 161.60. So for the meantime, just watch those levels. We've got some very nice kind of setups and movements in the works there, so we're going to keep our eye on that. Dollar yen and pound yen are kind of hopping around here a little bit. Aussie dollar is getting kind of interesting. We've got this trend line to keep an eye on. So I think there's some good movements on this Aussie dollar. If we get back above about 103.50, 55 area, then we've definitely got a potential to take it into the highs here of 104, kind of 50-ish. Somewhere in there, but again, looking for 20 to 25 to 40 pip movements. So just look for the kind of the quick runs above this 103.55, and likewise, if that doesn't hold, you can see that there's some little small trend lines here as well on the smaller time frames. So we can keep our eye on this, and we can look for some breaks, below 103.20-ish kind of area. But really what I'm looking for is I'd like to see it get back below 10300, because then I think we have a nice run to 102.50. So that's what I'm going to be kind of focusing most of my attention on. But I will watch this little trend line, but I think that our best bet is a sell below 10300. That gets us out of the chop and gets the movement running a little bit better. So I'm going to be looking for that. And then gold has retraced quite a bit. We've seen a big pullback on gold, but I think that we've got a good chance to kind of bounce around here. And if we get below 1650, then we could see some big dollar rallies happen. But if this gets back up above about this 1668, 1670 area, then we could be right back into the risk on euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar rally kind of situation. So keep an eye on this. We've got some great setups, and I will update them as we go throughout the day in the chat. Best of luck, guys, and we'll see you there.